Hello, hi, I'm Isabel. Thank you for joining me today. Today, I just want to share with you a testimony about what the Lord has done to me with regard to my health. I just had surgery, and the hand of the Lord has been upon me, so I just really had to share it with you. I've had what you call a parodictomy, so basically it's the removal of a parotid gland. So just kind of give you a little bit of a background in terms of what happened. About a decade ago, I realized I had a little lump, a little growth in my salivary gland that was just growing, and it started really small, like the size of a pea, it was tiny. But with time, it would grow. But it was growing really, really, really slowly. It was going really, really slowly. So I kind of ignored it. But one day when I went to see my dentist, he noticed the lump, and he referred me to a specialist, a professor in London who specializes in glands and stones to examine me, just to make sure that there was nothing, that there was nothing to worry about. So when I went to meet that professor, he carried some tests on me. So I had a biopsy where they put a needle just to withdraw some of the fluid, just to make sure, to confirm whether it is benign or malignant. And I also had a scan. So the biopsy on the scan revealed that the lump was actually benign, so it was not malignant, was not cancerous. But what he said to me is it's one of those things that just happen. It could happen because he's seen those cases before where the salivary gland will just start to grow, and he said basically it had to be removed. And he told me it had to be removed because those type of growth, you don't know, maybe over time they might become malignant. And he also said that if I left it in my body, it will grow to the size of a fist. So really, and what he said, really, he really wanted to take it out. And he told me about the risk of the surgery. Basically, the main risk was that of facial risk damage, so damages to the facial nerves, because that particular gland that sits here, that salivary gland, actually sits with the nerves that control the eyes, the nose, and the mouth. And so if there was some damage to the nerve, basically the side of the face would just droop, so you will lose function really on the side of this face. And there were other risks as well that they told me about, and I have to say I was really uncomfortable with the whole conversation I had with the professor. Because for me it was like, oh my God, having the side of my face opened, because the incision, what he was saying about the incision was they would have to open from the side of at the front of my ear, go down around my earlobe, and then go down my neck. So this is not something I had planned for me. Like having the side of my face opened, and the whole conversation was just like really, really, really uncomfortable for me. I just didn't have peace with it. So I did agree though to have I reluctantly did agree to have surgery, but then again I changed my mind, and because I just wasn't ready, because I just wasn't at peace, and it's not something I felt like that should happen. So what I did, because I'm a Christian, I decided I was going to pray about it. I decided I'm going to ask God to heal me supernaturally. So I started praying. I was really praying. I started praying. And over the years, as I was praying, and the lump was growing. I was praying and it was growing. I was praying, it's growing. And I'm asking God what's going on. So basically, it got to the point where, it was about to become visible. And I decided, I just need to do something about it. So I went to see my doctor here in Manchester, in England, where I live, and he referred me to an ENT specialist. So ENT is the specialist that specializes in ear, nose, and throat. Just basically to look at it. So I went to meet that consultant, Mr. Parotid. Basically, he told me pretty much the same thing as the professor in London had told me, that the incision would have to be the same, open at the side of in front of my ear, around the earlobe, and down my neck. So, and the risks were still the same with the other risks that he told me about as well, like phrase syndrome and all this kind of risks that, I didn't even want to hear about them. So, so when he told me that, I had a conversation with him, and this time when I was talking to him, I felt more comfortable, because he was really a nice person. He was really calm and collected, and he made me feel it made me feel at ease, and I had peace within myself, after talking with him, even though really I was really, I was dreading it, to be honest with you. So as I was given an appointment for my surgery, I was put on the list for surgery, I really began to pray. That's when I was just praying. I really started to pray seriously, and I even spoke to my pastor. And my pastor told me, listen, our God is able. He can remove it supernaturally, or he can, do it through surgery, but our God is in control. So we started praying about it, and I was praying. And as I was praying about it, I had a couple of dreams. And the first dream I had was that I had this vision that, I was touching the side of my neck, and the lump wasn't there anymore. And God talked to me a lot through dreams and visions. And I had another dream where I saw myself at a healing crusade, and I was lying on a hospital bed with bandages, and I was speaking to a nurse, and I was hugging a nurse, just telling her, thank you, because everything went so well. So basically for me was like, God was just giving me an indication, just confirmation that everything would go well. So on the day of the surgery, I went, and I asked to speak to my surgeon again before going to surgery, and he told me the same thing. He said to me, I've already explained everything to you, and I just said to him, I said, listen, I have an important face, I said, and so I can't have any scars on my face. I don't want any scars on my face. And he said to me, he said, listen, I told you what we're going to do, so that's what we're going to do. So I was like, okay, fine, and I waved this side of my face goodbye, because I knew it would never be the same, because I always have a scar, in front of my ear. So after the surgery, I woke up, and the surgery had gone well. And it's funny because there was a nurse that was there as well beside me. So and she told me, oh, the surgery went really well. And I touched her, I said, thank you so much. So as I was coming out of the anesthetic, and I looked at the side of my face, I realized actually he had not made the incision the way that it normally happens, because everywhere I looked, I checked on YouTube and I checked on forums, the incision always happens at the front of the ear. But what it did was, what my surgeon did, he opened underneath my earlobe. So now I could show you here. So he opened underneath my earlobe here, as you can see here, and he went down around, and he went down my neck. So this is the scar that I have, but it's healing really, really well. So over time, it's just going to fade away, but I have no scar at all at the front of my ear. And when one of his assistants came to see me, and I asked him, I said, how come you guys did not operate on me the way you said you were? He said to me, because you did ask us not to leave a scar on your face. And I mean, my surgeon was amazing, and I really bless God, that everything happened well, because, it's like, like being put under anesthetic, and it was quite a serious procedure, really, because it took 3/4 of an hour, and it could take up to an hour and a half, to remove a parotid gland. And it was almost like what David said, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, because you are with me. Your rod and your staff to protect me. So really, I was walking through that valley of the shadow of evil, but the Lord protected me. And I remember there was a man of God, Benny Hinn, saying, he said, if God is not going to heal you supernaturally, pray that he gives you a good surgeon. And I bless God because he gave me a good surgeon. I bless God because God was really in control. And now I'm just healing really, really well, and everything is fine. I mean, I don't have any problems at all, with eating, or any of the risks that they had mentioned really, had not happened, because as you can see, I don't have any facial nerve damage neither. So I just wanted to share that with you, that God revealed to me that everything was gonna go well, and everything went well. So to him be the glory. So I really thank my pastor who was there with me, and his wife. I thank my surgeon, Mr. Prad Murty, and his registrar. They were amazing. It was amazing what they did for me. I'm so grateful. Because God cares about what it is that we want, and he gave me what I wanted, which was not to have a scar on the side of my face. And above all things, I give God the glory, I give God the praise, because this issue troubled me for years. Oh my God, it troubled me for years, and finally it's like a big shadow that's been removed, and to God I give the glory. So I really pray that this testimony will strengthen you, and will also bless you. So I'll speak to you, I'll see you next time, okay? You take care. God bless. Bye-bye.